What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Anfernee McLemore, and it is about that time of the year where I cover what I once said was one of the best investing platforms that there ever was. This specific platform has been underrated for a number of years now, but it has steadily been gaining new users, but I still think that it is somewhat of a diamond in the rough. And the platform that I'm going to be discussing and updating my review on is the Atom.Finance platform. Now, I would say that I was an early adopter of Atom.Finance. I made one of my first reviews on Atom.Finance about 3 years ago, and the app has steadily been getting better over time to the point where you can't even use the platform for free now. So in this video, I plan on going through the pros and cons of why Atom.Finance may be advantageous to some people and also why you may not actually need it. So once you find one thing of value in this video, then tap the like button for your boy, but let's get right into the video. So let's talk about what Atom.Finance is. And what Atom.Finance is a paid subscription service, which is newly paid. It wasn't paid before, that provides enhanced investment data and research tools. And the main benefit of this is that it syncs with multiple brokerage accounts at once so that you can consolidate all of your portfolio into one place and do all of your research in one place. Now, this sounds like heaven on earth for some investors because you do get access to a ton of information and the fee is not that steep at $60 a year. So I can definitely see the appeal here, but let's take a deeper dive into the actual platform itself. And to do that, let's open up OBS on my computer so we can see the desktop platform. Now, Atom.Finance does actually have a mobile app, but I think that for most investors, they're going to be using the desktop platform. And as we pull up the desktop platform here, one of my favorite features that I mentioned in all of my reviews is the dark theme. Now, I know that this isn't a big deal to some people, and let's actually see if they have a light theme. They do. They actually have a light theme as well. But for me personally, one of my favorite features is the dark theme. You can see that, as I mentioned earlier, Atom.Finance does offer a yearly subscription, but let's explore Atom.Finance a little bit more. So as we look at the home screen, you can definitely see that we are already presented with a ton of information. First and foremost, on the top left here, we have our indexes. We can see the S&P 500, the Russell 2000, NASDAQ, and Dow Jones, and a little chart of how they are performing. Now, for me personally, this doesn't do a lot of good because you can't really see any sort of scale with the chart being this small. I get that it's fine to have it here, but to me, at my first glance, it looks like it was just placed there just to fill up some space. There's not really a lot of room for analysis here. And then if we start to scroll back the timelines just to see if we're trying to use this for an actual analysis, you can see that the chart isn't all that large to see any real trends. I get that you can see a little bit, but that's just a small minor inconvenience. Now, for the purpose of this video, I did set up a sandbox portfolio because I just had the idea to do this video. So I'm not going to be connecting all of my brokerage accounts, but I did want to set up something so that you can see exactly how the platform works. And as you can see on this middle platform here, we can see my portfolio. As I unhide the value, you can see that the value of this simulated portfolio is $66,000. And I think I only put like 4 or 5 securities in here just for testing purposes. And right now it's tracking the value of my portfolio in the red versus the S&P 500, which is always a good benchmark to compare your performance to. However, what we're going to talk about next is this what's happening section. And I believe that this one section, this one what's happening section is worth $5 a month. Forget all of the other stuff, forget the portfolio tracking and investment and everything. I personally will be willing to pay $5 a month just to get this what's happening section. And what this what's happening section is a 3 times a day brief of what's going on in the market. Now, some people may think that I'm exaggerated about how beneficial this may be for investors, but let's look through one of the briefs so we can see exactly what happened. But before I click on this, what these briefs will basically be meant for is a 1-pager of what's going on in the market that day. You're not going to be seeing any call outs. You're not going to have any trades or anything going on here. It's just going to be keeping you up to date of what's happening, what's going on. It's sort of like a mini news segment. And I think that this is really cool because you get to see the news without seeing all of the ads and the distractions. So if you just want to quickly know what's happening in the market, you can read one of these and go about your day. And what's cool is this happens 3 times a day. So before we click on the morning brief, you can see that overall on the day, most markets were down. The S&P 500 down 0.67%, Russell down a little bit, NASDAQ as well. So we can expect that the morning brief may reflect that. I haven't read this yet, so let's read it now. So I'm not going to read all of this, of course, but as we click on it, we can see that in the headings, it says future points higher as market participants buys to dip again, meaning that the markets were dipping and consumers were choosing to buy more as the market was falling. And then we start to see some corporate news. If we look at a couple of these, we see that Duolingo beats earnings by 28 cents a share. Some other news, let's see some other notable names here. We can start to see some international news. Overall, it is a lot of information. I don't remember it being quite this much information last time, and I'm going to explain why I don't actually choose to use this on a day-to-day later in the video. But because we know that the market finished in the red, let's see what the evening says. Closing summary, market closes on a down downbeat after late afternoon selling, which is what we can see reflected in the actual market. We can get some explanation of what that is. And if you are someone who wants to read that stuff, then that will be amazing for you. If I was someone who wanted to get that delivered to me 3 times a day, I would definitely consider paying the $60 a year. And also with the features on the homepage, we have the standard watch list, we have a market map, some upcoming events. This is one section I want to get into, is the My Documents, because you typically don't see this for most other investing platforms like Yahoo Finance, even Morningstar. You don't see the actual 8Ks, quarterly reports, 10Ks. And if we're looking at Tesla, for example, because that is a company on my watch list, if I click on their 8K, we can see their actual filing. Now, as an average passive investor, I think this may be a little bit too much information, but if you wanted to go through and read Tesla's quarterly report, it is definitely right there. You can see that June 2023, they had a little bit less cash on hand, but their total overall assets increased over the 6 months. We can see that they're getting $1 billion more assets in goodwill, and also $3 billion more assets in property, plant, and equipment, as well as $3 billion more in assets from inventory. So it looks like to me, just analyzing this quick quarterly report, that Tesla is investing more in assets. They have less cash, but they have more inventory, they have more property, plant, and equipment, and they have more non-current assets. I'm sorry, I probably said goodwill earlier, but I meant other non-current assets. I mean, as we continue to break down this quarterly report, we can see that their accounts payable are about the same, and overall the only real increase in liabilities they have is accrued liabilities and deferred revenue, as well as an increase in other long-term liabilities. So this is all great information for companies that you may be willing to invest in, that you want to see more in-depth information. I personally have been investing in Tesla for a while now, but I have never just sought out their quarterly reports to see what they're actually doing as a company, and having this right in your face definitely makes that much easier. But as we go through the Atom.Finance platform, if you click on portfolio, this is where you will be spending most of your time, because what they advertise most is that you can add multiple brokerage accounts into Atom.Finance and have all your performance tracked in one place. I, for one, partially because of this YouTube channel, have a lot of different portfolios spread across. I like to review different portfolios, so I put money in a lot of different places, and to be able to theoretically consolidate all of those portfolios so I can see exactly what they are all doing all at once, that would be a dream come true. Now, personally, I don't think Atom.Finance is quite there yet. They don't quite sync to every single brokerage, which is one of the downfalls I talked about in one of my previous videos. So I think as they continue to grow and as they continue to be more compatible with other platforms, that this will definitely be a lot more functional to me. And then we have portfolio news over here, which you can pretty much see on any investing platform. We have the standard watch list. We do have the compare function. So let's say we want to compare Tesla to Ford. This is a really cool tool here so that we can see the value of 2 different companies and their different approaches versus their stocks. We have a screener tool here. A lot of this stuff is actually pretty advanced. So if I type Tesla into the X-ray tool, we can start to see some news stories and even a lot of different information that involves the Tesla stock. However, let me now explain why I don't choose to use Atom.Finance on a regular basis. Even before it cost money, even when it was free, I decided that I personally didn't want to use Atom.Finance because I choose to be a passive investor. All of this information is great, and all of this information would be great for someone who's investing a lot of money and getting some serious stakes in these companies. But I think that for the everyday investor, having too much information may lead you to making bad decisions. Because at the end of the day, I believe that you should be investing in quality companies and letting your money sit with those companies as long as possible. Having all this information at your disposal may honestly just lead to more anxiety about how your portfolio is performing. However, I do think that this tool is great. I personally love the consolidation aspect of it. I would love the idea of having all of my portfolios in one place and seeing the performance all at once. However, one downside of Atom.Finance is that you can't actually trade from Atom.Finance. It is very much just a visual tool. So if you saw one of your portfolios was having a spike or a dip and you want to actually make a trade while you were watching that on Atom.Finance, you would then have to go to that specific portfolio's broker site and then make that trade. And I think that that is just an unnecessary extra step in order to keep up with the progress of your portfolio. So personally, I think that those 2 deal breakers were the reason why I don't use it. I love the briefing aspect of it. I love that it gives you a short overview of the day, of the afternoon, and of the evening. However, it not being compatible to all of the brokerage accounts that I own is definitely a big downside, and also not being able to trade from the platform is a big downside as well. I personally don't think that there will ever be a way to trade from Atom.Finance because of all of the different authentications that you would have to use. But for a person who wants really in-depth information all in one place, then I think Atom.Finance may be something for you to try. I am not that engaged in my portfolio to be looking at this much information, but for those of you that are, then definitely give it a shot. You get a 7-day free trial, and then it is $60 a year after that. So Atom.Finance is not sponsoring this video. They haven't sponsored any one of my other 2 videos, so this is a pure, raw, unfiltered opinion, and I would give it an A- for information, but a B- for the overall aspect of it. I think that they should have a free option that they just slap some ads on there, and then I think it will be great for for the everyday user. But having it only as a paid platform, I don't personally think that is worth it. However, with all that being said, please leave your thoughts on Atom.Finance below. If you think it is actually something that is really useful, or is it just an overpriced regurgitation of other information that you can find on the internet. But if you found anything of value in this video, please tap that like button for your boy, as it does help the channel out, and also hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. However, with all that being said, I will see you in the next video, guys. Peace.